Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a 3-drop gourd stitch pattern. Now this is kind of a difficult stitch to master or to learn. For me it was anyways. But I practiced and practiced and I was able to kind of figure it out, or finally figure it out. I'll just show you some examples that I worked on. This one here I think I was just trying to figure out what the angles were, what it looked like. However, there is a few mistakes that I didn't catch when I first started. Like somewhere along the line I added an extra bead, and when you add an extra bead you won't notice it right away at first, but it will reflect later on in the work. So this one here I just wanted to see what the transition of colors look like, the angles, and just the general appearance of it. So I really like it, it looks nice. So then the next one that I attempted was this one here, to see what the variation, like the transition of colors look like, center pattern, and again the transition of colors. Again, somewhere along the line I made a mistake which caused a slight deviation in the pattern. Now understand that these beads are not uniform. They're size 10 and 0 beads that I use. So there is going to be some variation. However, if I missed a bead or added a bead, it will cause quite a significant change in the pattern later on. And then another example, this one I kind of crafted myself, designed it myself. This one was tricky because every black bead, this row of black beads is separated by 2 blue and then black, 2 blue, black. So that was kind of a tricky, took some navigating, but I was quite pleased with this one here. And then finally, this project, I borrowed the idea off of a Pinterest post, and I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. I didn't put a bottom on it, but I'll do that later. So I like this pattern because the angles, it's just endless. The colors, the patterns, it's just a beautiful stitch, and it's nice and tight. But it's just, I think this one turned out really well. So I'm gonna just move the screen a little bit closer now. So there we have it. So let's get started. So back to the beads. They're size 10 and 0, opaque colors that I use, and it takes 54 beads to go around the lighter, the circumference of the lighter. So what I want to do is, I don't want to count out the 54. Now, because this is a 3-drop gourd stitch, the sections are in groupings of 3. So 1, 2, 3. So what I need to do is string on 2/3 of 54, which is 36, and then the remaining 18 beads I'll add on. So I've already strung on 36. I'm going to start with the color red. So 36 beads I've already strung on. Now depending on which way I want the main circumference to go, like if you could see the flow of the beads, they go towards the right. I need to take my string of beads and twist it around towards the left. So that's the right side. I don't want to go there. I want to twist the beads around to go around towards the right side. Come around, and then I'm going to take just thread through the first bead of the row there. Now this is the tricky part because the beads are not tight, they're loose, and it's quite clumsy feeling. So I just want to take this tail and hang on to it. So right now it's just, this is the most difficult part. But as we add the beads on and go further up the pattern, the beads will begin to become more tight and the work will feel more secure. So I have a tendency to stick the needle in between my mouth, my lips. So if I sound like I'm mumbling, that's the reason why. Okay, so I'm going to count. Oh, also I just want to make note that this I'm going to refer towards the top, and below the row of the beads will be the bottom. So I want to start my row from the bottom, of course, and work my way up. Now there's different techniques. You can start in the middle, work your way up, and then finish that, and then start in the middle and work your way down. But I like to start at the bottom and work my way up. Okay, so back to this. So this counts as one bead. So I'm just going to make it a little bit closer. There we go. So I hope it's not too blurry. So I'm going to make it, count this as 1, 2, 3. So it's every third bead that I want to put, see, I want to pick up a bead and just thread it through that third bead. See, now already I'm running into problems getting a twist into my thread. That's okay. That happens. So some people choose to prevent that twisting to happen. Some take their string and run it through some wax, coat their string with wax. I've done that in the past. See, right now it's kind of a struggle to begin with, but that's okay. So I'm just going to press that clump of beads, pull the string just to tighten it. So now I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to pick up another bead and go through that last one. One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. So we're just going to continue in that, just like that, till we reach the end of this row. So this will be the base of the work, the foundation. So it's important to get the correct number of beads on and to make sure that you avoid adding an extra bead or missing a bead, because it may not show up right away, but it will, that error will show up later on in the work. So see how it just looks kind of clumsy right now, but it's starting to develop a little pattern. This here bead, I don't want to lie there. I want it to lie, the rope to be on the string to be on the top, just like that. So pick up a bead. So just as a reminder, I started off with 36 beads. That's 2/3 of 54. And the remaining 18 beads I'm adding on right now. So just as a reminder, it's good to have good lighting, and in my case I need to have a good pair of glasses. So I got the string stuck, wrapped around again. So when this begins to happen, that means that the string, there's a twist in the string somehow. So what I like to do every once in a while is just take from the beadwork, just take it and pull the string through to work out the twist. So that will help prevent that string from knotting up again. So carrying right along, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm getting to the end of that row. So what I want to do is, now it looks terrible, looks confusing. This is where I would get confused when I first started. But when I'm looking back, I can already see the groups of 3 starting to take shape. So there's 3 clusters of 3. Sometimes they don't want to fall in shape and line there, but that's okay. And it's still kind of loose on the lighter, but that's, like I said, as you go along, it will begin to snug up. So now I still want to do, for this part here, count 3. This will be the last one. 1, 2, 3. So that's the 3rd bead that I want to go through. The 3rd and the last bead of this row. There we go. So now there should be 18 clusters of 3 beads around. So let's count. I'm going to start this, the cluster of beads where the string is coming through is going to count as 1. So 1, 2, and sometimes you just need to manipulate the beads to get them to fall into place there. So let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there's 18. 18 times 3 is 54. Okay, now, once you get started, what you want to do is you want to go through always the top, the peak bead. And then the next bead will slip into this section here. Oh, sorry. So the peak bead is this one. And the next bead that will be added will slip into this section here. And the thread will come through that. However, if you notice where the thread is coming through, it's coming through the middle bead here. So what I want to do is I don't want to add on a bead because I want to start the next row. I'm going to call this section the bridge. So what I want to do is slip through that needle or bead, and there we go. So now I have a complete circumference of beads, and I can start the next row. So I'm going to add on the fourth bead to the clusters of 3. So this one here is counted as a peak. And again, the only number of beads that I'm adding is 18. So I keep tugging on the string just to make it nice and snug. Okay, so it's starting to come together. Every once in a while, you should have a look back just to make sure that you didn't go through 2 beads or miss a section. See right here, it looks like a mess. But as the further along you go in the pattern, this will sort itself out. The tugging of the string will help the formation of the beads to take shape. Okay, so now I'm nearing the end of that row that I've just completed. Now it looks kind of messy in here, but that's okay. So the bead that I want to go through is this one here. See, this is where it can get confusing, because you get this little bead that doesn't want to fall in line, right? There we go. So you can see we'll go back a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then the row begins here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I want to do is I want to go through this bead. So that's the last of the three, that's the last of the row that has 3 beads. Now we have 4 beads, 18 sections. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So now this again is where I would make the mistake. I would pick up a bead and try and thread it through, go around, and then it wouldn't match. So what I'm going to show you is, remember that little bridge section that I talked to you about? Well, that bridge section is the beginning of the next row, and it's the end of the last row that you just completed. So it is at this section that you want to make any color changes or any pattern changes. And it's important when you reach the end of the last row to not add a bead, but just slip through this little bridge here on the next peak of the bead, making sure you just go through the one bead. And there you have it. You're ready to start the next row. So again, any color changes that you want to do or any pattern changes, you need to begin at this section here to make the pattern change. So let's do one more row. Now this will bring the cluster up to 5. So once you get the pattern established, the circumference established, I'm not going to keep counting, because when I reach that bridge section, that is my clue that I've reached the end of the row. I've tried to keep count in the past, and I've just lost the count. So I can already feel it starting to get a little bit snug around the lighter, which is always a good feeling, because then I know that the beads are falling into place. Oh, see what I just about did? I went through 2. Now that was a common mistake that I would make. I would get a good rhythm going, and then all of a sudden I've gone through 2 beads, I don't know where or how, and the sequence and the pattern would just be skewed later on. So had to learn to be patient and not in a rush, and just to enjoy this technique of beading, because really there's no rush. And then when you complete the work, it's amazing how beautiful the project turns out. Okay, so now I know I'm getting close to the end of this last row that I'm just completing. So I'm on the last cluster of 5 beads. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to go through, now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beads there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beads there. And I'm on the last cluster of 4. So I'm going to go through that. Just the top bead. There we go. Now I've completed a whole round, and there's 5 beads in each cluster. Now, like I said, the further I go, I'm not going to keep counting how many beads, because now I know I'm at the bridge. So I'm going to just not pick up a bead, just slip my thread and needle through that bead. And there we go. I'm ready to start the next row. So I hope this video has been helpful, and happy beading.